Hey folks, Mark here. So today I'm going to give just a very candid sharing about some of the advice I've received from one of my mentors who generates about $2 million per year in profit in just working 4 hours per week. And it's about the topic of mastering the game of entrepreneurship. And just a very quick context before I begin. So I think even some of my closest friends don't even know this, right? So at the start of 2024, for the first time, I actually had serious thoughts about potentially quitting my business. And after a lot of reflections, talking to people, right, getting a lot of coaching and feedback, I realized at the end of the day, just because when it comes to my business, while revenue, right, was doing pretty fine, right, it wasn't too bad. I even made 50K, right, at the last month of 2023. I started to realize that there were some parts of the business that wasn't aligned with me. And I didn't want to do that and continue to grow my business because I would continue doing activities I did not like. In particular, it was conducting like webinars just to sell, right, for the sake of selling over and over again, which I didn't like, and conducting weekend workshops, which was taking away precious time away from my family, right, and my friends. So I made the decision to take those two out, but I also had to search for a model that actually could work for me, and that's when I came across this mentor, right, who was based in Bali. And he's on track to making more than $2 million USD per year in profit in just working 4 hours per day. That was pretty cool, right? And I like his vibe, I like his values and what he stood for. And so I signed up for his program, right, earlier this year, right? A couple of $1,000s per year, right? If you analyze it. And the thing is, if you wanted one-to-one coaching with him, you had to pay like 1,000 USD per week, and he charges up to 200,000 right dollars just for you to work personally with him. However, I was fortunate, right, being in that group, that community. I won a contest, right, where I could have actually quite a bit of one-to-one time with him. And I won a contest twice, right? So I've been asked different questions, right? Get different feedback, and it was pretty cool. He gave personal feedback in terms of voice notes, right, through our chat messages. And so today I'm going to share my biggest lessons with all of you so that you guys could benefit as well. And hopefully you guys don't have to pay $1,000 per week, which is like $52,000, right, per year, right? And I hope you guys enjoy this as well. So one of the first thing I asked him was, how do I build up authority, right, for my business, right? How do I increase my level of authority, right, so more people trust me and buy from me? And his answer was pretty interesting, right, because he said instead of thinking about authority, right, why not think about building resonance with our ideal tribe or ideal clients instead? And so what he realized is, what he mentioned is he doesn't really, I mean, for him, right, he only has like about couple of thousand followers, right, on Facebook, YouTube, but he has more than $2 million per year, right, which is pretty cool, right, for me, for my lifestyle business. And so instead of trying to think about authority all the time, he actually thinks about building resonance, right? And so what he does is he actually creates content that allows audience to understand him, where he comes from, but also at the same time to allow the audience to feel understood by him. So obviously you do want to build some level of authority still, right? Whereas through success stories, case studies prove, but he knew that I had quite a high, I kind of knew some of these things already, right? But that alone is not likely to attract your dream audience. So you want to test out different angles and ideas to see what works, what sticks with people through comments, through engagements. You want to find out what people vibe with you about, right, by testing out different things. And so another key thing I kind of learned, which is instead of trying to think about content pillars, which is a very usual thing that gurus and coaches tend to teach, think about what the big ideas you want to share instead, right? What big ideas that you believe in, right, that aligns with your values, your personality, that might not be said anywhere else, right? And start communicating your big ideas about your philosophy, right? Your in terms of what you stand for, what you work, how you work people with, what your unique perspectives, and start sharing them, right? So of course you do want to share proof, right? And share some tactics that I think others would kind of teach you. But I think what he realized is that it's more about quality, right, of engagement rather than quantity as well. So that works a lot for me. So my case, right, how I'm implementing it is instead of just trying to write content that tries to reach out the most number of people, right, the most attractive hook, I'm right now in the midst of creating content that builds resonance with my tribe of people, right? People who are not want to build lifestyle businesses, right, but also do in a way where they can have the money, time, and energy to enjoy their life as well. So that's my take. Again, I know what I say doesn't appeal to everybody, right? But at the same time, right, I hope it appeals very deeply, right, to the people I want to serve at the end of the day. So the second thing we talked about, right, was strategy. So what I did is I actually spent quite a lot of time to come up with my entire strategy for my business, right, my short term, mid term, long term, and I asked him for direct feedback about my strategy. And it was pretty cool, right? Because his answer was pretty short, which is, it sounds good, but the question is, does it resonate with you? And so what he mentioned, right, which is why when you're starting out, you definitely want to follow the system. A lot of people try to overthink it, right? That's why they don't get the results they want. But if you're starting out, you do want to follow the process or system as strictly as you can, as long as you generate resonance with you. And of course, getting data is important. But eventually, right, as you get a bit more experience, it's about doing what aligns with you. So one thing I learned from him, right, is that everything works, right? LinkedIn works, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, right? Email marketing works, long form, short form, right? It all works, right? But the question is, what works for you, right? And so to do that, right, you need to understand yourself, and you also need to trust yourself as well, right? Which is why when starting out, you might not have enough data about yourself to know what works, right? But as you move on, right, you kind of know what works for you. So one thing I always share about with my clients is what I call the zone of genius, identifying what are activities, right, that I'm not only good at and recharges me, right, but also what I enjoy as well. So that's understanding yourself, and knowing what you don't want. So the next thing, right, what I had to work on is trusting myself. Because why? For me, like I said, I'm a huge, for those who don't know me, I used to be a huge coaching, right, learning junkie, right, which is why I also talk about master implementers in the first place. And so what I did, right, is I had to start learning how to trust myself, right, trust my gut, and trust my level of intuition. And so the thing to note is I'm not a very a lot of people do mention that I do it for that raw intuition, but I haven't really developed it. But I realized the bottleneck is also trusting myself. So right now what I'm doing is every day, right, generally I take 10 minutes just to sit in silence, and just to ask myself for 10 minutes, right, what does my intuition tell me? And just with this very simple activity, I don't think I'm perfect yet, but I've gotten so much more clarity and awareness alignment that I could not have gotten just by asking people for their feedback and their help. So that's one thing I learned about intuition. And so just to put into context, right, because during that period of time, I also conducted my 2 days weekend mastermind with my clients. We have almost 50 people that come in total. And there was a guest speaker that I invited to talk about 10x goals, 10x vision, right? But as I heard it, and it sounds amazing, right? A lot of my clients liked it and stuff. But I started to realize, and it was cool because I used to always listen to people and try to implement it. But I realized at this season of my life that I'm not very into trying to create 10x goals that makes me go crazy at this point of time, right? But instead, right now, I am in the midst of just enjoying my journey, right? Growing one step at a time, right? And instead of trying to think of 10x goals or making millions of dollars, hey, right? If I make anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 per month consistently, predictably, right? With MRR, right? With income, right? On a recurring basis, I'm pretty happy, right? So that's my goal. It's not a 10x goal, right? Because I'm pretty near that. But that is what I'm working on right now. And I wouldn't have gotten that if not for my level of intuition. So again, 10 minutes exercise every day, right? Ask yourself what's your intuition telling you, and that's something that you can potentially work on yourself. So the third thing, right, we actually talk a little bit about what we call offer, right? So we didn't really discuss this on a one-to-one, but it was one of the biggest lessons I learned from him. And I think it started with the lesson of $100 million offers, right? If you didn't know the book, is this legendary book called by Alex Hormozi about creating wonderful offers that sell a lot. And the thing about that offer, while it was great and it kind of like revolutionized, right, the industry of sorts, right, by making it so simple and easy to understand, he actually created that arms race, right, I would say, where people were trying to bump up their offers, right, by creating insane guarantees, insane benefits, right, working with you, helping you do everything, right, and just going crazy with the amount of work they would do for clients in order to charge more money. And as I started looking at people in the industry, I realized that a lot of people were trying to sell so freaking hard, right, with amazing offers, but they either can't deliver on what they promise, or they feel like crap trying to deliver on their promises, right? So even if they made, and what I realized is as they made more money, they felt more miserable. And this is how people got burnt out. This is how people closed down their programs. This is how people quit, right? And I was fortunate, right, to be at a stage where I was able to address the things that I wasn't aligned with, right? So that I can still be shooting this video for you today. But I realized that and it's also pretty sad, right? Not just for the entrepreneur's point of view, because a lot of times in a coaching industry agency space, right, when people work with you, right, it's because they like your content, they like what you stand for, they like your personality, right? They like your vibes, right? Your values. But when they sign up with you, maybe they have a one-to-one call with you personally, right? Or they attend a workshop with you. But after they sign up, they realize that they're not even working with you in the first place. And so a lot of them, they kind of understand, right? Because maybe you're busy and stuff, but they're like, shit, I signed up for you, right? Not for everything else, right? That you might have provided. And so, and then they feel bad, right? They feel a bit like, maybe a little bit frustrated, right? And this also leads to a lot of dissatisfaction and also refunds on some level. And so what he taught me, right, was this concept of what we call a proximity offer, right? Which was basically you pay money, right? When you pay, right, or invest, right, you get more personal time, right, with whoever you vibe with in the first place, right? In my case, me, right? So right now my offers, right, which is every client I work with, right, has insane levels of personal access to me. And of course, right, the more they upgrade, right, the more personal access with me. So for example, in my inner circle, right, they have multiple group calls with me every week, right? They get to ask me in a group chat anytime. I'll answer them personally because I know all of them. I give personal, right, feedback and help to every single one of them, right? And my team supports me in that as well. On the other hand, most programs, right, when you sign up, right, you might get him as a group call maybe once every month, right, if you're lucky, right, or once every quarter, right, once every year in their mastermind event, right. So for me, right, I actually enjoy, right, the proximity portion. And by the way, I'm not saying that you need to adopt this model. I adopt this model because it aligns with me, where I actually like working with clients personally. I like consulting, coaching, right, rather than trying to be that mass speaker all the time. So that's just a quick context over there. So one thing to note is you can still win, right, by creating your best systems, best playbooks, hiring best team members, one-to-one coaches, right? But it's tough like crazy, right? And so for someone who's trying to build a lifestyle business, right, where I have a team of less than 4 people, right, but we can still make, okay, pretty good revenue, not the best in the world, right, but still pretty good income, right, which I feel good with. It's actually very tough to try to build a great business, trying to create the best systems in the world, lots of one-to-one coaches. And it doesn't align with me. So again, it's back down to alignment, right? Which is right now my business model where I work with a small group of clients, right? I don't work with thousands of people. I work with about 100 max at any point of time, right? And we're still inching towards there, which is great. And it supports my lifestyle, right? Because I work with them directly, and I don't have to create crazy guarantees, crazy offers, right? Just to make more money, but affect my margins or affect my mental wellness, right? Or my time, right? Because of that. So the fourth thing I learned, right, is what we talk about client success. And I love client success, right, because this is the one thing I'm passionate about, and this is exactly why I signed up for Be Entrepreneur in the first place, right? And you can watch some of my other videos about why I create some high-paying roles to do what I do today. But the first thing I learned about client success from him is no matter what you do, right, when it comes to upgrading your client success, there will always be some clients that might not succeed, right? Some clients that might not reply, some clients that might not take action, so on and so forth. So take note that to set your expectation, to realize that no matter what you do for your clients, some of them will not take advantage of everything you have to offer, and there will always be some people that might not get the results that you want. Right? So let go of the expectations that needs to be 100%. It's not saying that we don't care. We do our very best, right? So we are responsible to our clients, but we're not responsible for them, because it's up for them to take advantage, right, of everything you've provided, right? And don't feel bad or don't feel guilty, right? With some clients, they don't do it because why? They might have their own personal challenges, they might have their own personal limitations, right? They have their own personal preferences, considerations. So don't feel responsible for them. Just be responsible to them. Right. So with that, right, some tactics, right, one thing I learned is you got to be very clear, right, about your expectations, right, especially about how they want to potentially work with you in terms of asking questions, right, whether it's one-to-one calls, group chats, right, private chats, right. You want to be that traffic controller. So you want to direct traffic, direct communication, so that they can potentially they actually know exactly, right, how they can use the program, right, in a way that aligns with you as well. Because why? If you're not clear, then they'll just do whatever they want, right, and then you might get a bit messed up or overwhelmed because of that. You also identify, right, everything's a trade-off, right. So for example, if you have more group calls, expect less attendance. If you don't mind, if you have a lot of one-to-one calls, expect less attendance for other group calls, group chats as well. If you have a group chat, right, again, you might have less calls as well. So again, just remember everything's a trade-off, right. The more you provide, right, just realize that it's fine as long as people are getting results, rather than, for example, wanting everybody to attend a group calls, right, because it just makes you feel good, right, and stuff. So again, be very clear about how you want people to operate, right, through your program, right, in terms of setting your expectations and communicating it, and realize that everything is a trade-off as well. The other thing to note, right, is And I loved it, but this is something that we have already done already, right? Which is have a traffic light system for clients, right? So I think so instead of having people just generally find out where they are, right, to have random updates, you want each client and tag some form of traffic light system, right? So green, orange, red. Green being they're on track, they're wonderful, they're taking action, they're attending the calls, they're asking questions. Orange is like, okay, they're doing it once in a while, but they're not as responsive as they can. And then red is like, they are not responding, right? They're not doing much at all, right, in the first place. And then this is what I call doing the unscalable, right? Which is every single week, right? Me and my team members, we actually discuss the progress of every single client, right? And then we decide who to reach out to, right? Who to work on, right? And this also brings me to another tactic he mentioned, which is part of what we call the daily 5, which is every day, right? Do one thing, right, to help support clients. Whether is it creating a video, creating a content, writing something, reaching out personally to potential clients, right, that might need some support, right? So do the unscalable, right? Instead of trying to automate everything, systemize everything, right? Work with clients directly, right, to find out what they need and then help them as much as possible. Why? Right? Doing that will lead you to referrals, right? Word of mouth for more potential clients, renewals, right? Renewals, retention. But right, even if they don't renew or they don't upgrade or they don't create word of mouth, right, you actually deliver on what you promise and you create a great experience, will lead to a great testimonial, right? So do the unscalable when it comes to working with clients, but be very clear with communication so that it actually aligns with you. All right, so with that, the last thing, right, just want to share with you, this is just a bonus thing. It's not really a mindset or overall approach, but because I joined the program, right, community, I actually managed to experience for myself this software that's taking the world, or the US world, or the industry world, again, right, not the world, right, by storm, which is called Skool, right, Skool. I'll put a link below if you want to find out more, but anyway, before right working with before joining this program, right, I for my clients I used to have sales process, right, by Pengjun, which is a GHL white label. You can check it out somewhere. I use Telegram, right, for my chats. But when I realized that the modules there are laggy and not user friendly, right, people didn't really enjoy their experience over there. That's when I knew that I had to switch that up ASAP. But I didn't know how, right? And I also had Telegram for a chat group, which was sometimes a bit messy, a bit overwhelming. So some people didn't really like to engage with it too much. So when I joined the program, I actually experienced Skool and I freaking loved it, right? That you can watch the modules at the same place where you can ask questions, right? You can post stuff there. There was a leaderboard, right? For you to track your engagements and comments, right? And of course, when they gamify it, right, you get prizes, right? Like how I got a one-to-one call, right, with the mentor. And like easy posts, right? You can upload videos very easily. So for example, right, you can just shoot a Loom video directly, right? And immediately you can upload it, right, in just 2 seconds, right, with the playbooks that you have. So I freaking love it, right? Everything is so easy and simple as compared to the previous platforms I've used, right? Teachable, Kajabi, right, so on and so forth. You can customize it a lot as well, right? And it's a very powerful way to engage with a community, which is also another way for you to retain, right, to work with your clients for the long term as well. So what was the additional investment, right? About $1,200, right, every year, USD. It was very worth it. So I think that was just a bonus thing I learned from the entire program, not because he told me anything, but because I experienced how it was like and I freaking loved it, and why I immediately installed that for my clients, right, the next wave of client upgrades that we have, and we are working on it right now. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like more of this, right? If you can, if you watched this to the end, let me know in the comments, because it allows me to just spur me on to create more videos. But with that, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video.